This is Jan and I in Italy in 1996. It was our first trip to Italy.
Jim and Janet Swift loved travel. The two teachers from Bolton went all over Europe, and Jim's memories of this Italian holiday are happy ones, until the day after they had taken this video in Venice.
So this is Jan, looking casual. It's the day before Jan frightened me to death by saying that she couldn't remember this day. We went out for a meal one evening, stopped at a bar on the way back, and whilst we were there, Jan suddenly turned to me to say, "Where did we go yesterday?" And it was the terror in her eyes. It wasn't just sort of a loss of memory, she was really frightened. Do you remember the girls going into St Mark's were told to cover their legs? Come a bit closer, then I can hold your hand. Remember the white hat?
Yes, it was.
Who's that? It's Sophie Loren. No, it's not. It's you.
Today, Janet can hardly remember she even went. Early onset Alzheimer's disease robbed Janet of her career and the future that she and Jim had planned together.
That's from the camera.
Yes.
The effect on the family has been devastating. It has been called a living bereavement. It's not the retirement either of us had planned. Before you retired and got very old, what did you do
Going down.
when you were working?
You were at work.
As a
to
teacher?
Yes.
Janet Swift was a successful teacher and head teacher.
She was caring, fantastic teacher, well organised. And now her mental abilities are less than the children she taught, which were mainly infants and juniors.
Fearing that his wife might have dementia, Jim got Janet to a doctor who referred her to a psychiatrist.
Originally he said it was depression, but eventually he sent Jan for a scan. The scan showed a perfectly normal brain. I had been keeping from Jan my fears, but now I explained to her what had been going on, and she said, "Well, I'm glad you hadn't told me because I wouldn't have wanted to know."
Despite what appeared to be good news, Jim's private fears persisted. Things didn't get any better. Janet started to double book herself at some schools or simply not show up at others.
I remember on one instance we had sort of 14 tins of tuna because Jan obviously couldn't remember if she'd bought any on the previous visit to the shops.
A second scan confirmed Alzheimer's disease. Janet was 58 years old. Today, she does not know what's happened to her, and Jim has never told her that she has dementia.
So it has been difficult because we've not been able to cry together, and I've still had to be the same silly idiot I've always been in her eyes. When you first get the diagnosis, you are at a loss as to where to go, who to turn to. And after that, I think that may be Paula.
Twice a month, Paula Smith, an Admiral nurse, visits Jim to advise him on organising the care Janet now needs.
I'll just lock the door. She told me about the disability living allowance, how to claim that. She told me about the agencies that I could get to provide support. So she has been the person to guide me through. What's your cup?
How are you doing? Oh, I'm getting going up. I've got my shoes.
She's got a new outfit on. It's her birthday on the 15th.
But there are fewer than 70 such specialist nurses across the country, and not all carers may be able to get access to one.
Admiral nurses are a team of specialist nurses who support carers and family carers of people who are experiencing dementia. We are usually employed within a mental health trust within the NHS, and we accept referrals from both family carers, from friends, from GPs, from the consultants and the hospital teams, and that's usually how we become engaged with our carers.
People with dementia may exhibit mood swings and varying degrees of aggression, making life hard for their carers. Jim needs advice on how to handle his wife's increasingly unpredictable behaviour.
not nice to be told you're nasty and horrible and stupid.
No. I think another good coping strategy would maybe, because I know Jan and you both enjoy music, maybe to have some music playing in the background while you know helping her to get ready in the morning.
Right. I did get from the day centre, apparently Jan dances to a particular record, so I borrowed the CD and copied it, and it's like Pavlov's dog. She'll get up, put the music on, she gets up and dances. So
that's really good. Our role is primarily in focused in supporting the carer of a person with dementia rather than the person with dementia themselves. We are all RMNs, we're all mental health nurses. We've recently applied for direct payments which have been successful in receiving.
Paula has helped Jim get direct payments so he can decide what's best in his situation. 3 days a week he sends Janet to a day centre, allowing him what's crucial for all carers, time to themselves. Although this time apart can be difficult to come to terms with.
Well, respite I found difficult because I was sending Jan into a situation where I was aware that she could be unhappy and I was still doing it. But you persuaded me and I agreed that I needed it.
I think for both of you it's important. You both need a little bit of a break from each other.
Jim took early retirement from teaching and used his life savings to convert their home to make it easier to care for his wife. As Janet's condition has worsened, Jim's sister, Adrina, regularly helps look after her.
Jan has found it difficult showering, but now that we've got the walk-in shower, and with my sister there, that sort of helps. We can persuade her better than I alone.
So do you do it together? Or
we do it together, yes.
That's good.
Paula also advised Jim how to organise carers who can help look after Janet at home and allow Jim some time to himself.
Once the carers have left, you are by yourself again with your wife.
I'll see you on Friday. Yeah.
Thanks for doing Jan's hair.
No problem.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. And you have to do everything. So you are alone. My wife doesn't converse much. She can understand me talking to her. Even watching the TV, unless it's a comedy programme, she's unable to interact with it. She can't follow the plot. And so basically you are alone. Last time I picked her up from Furwood last Thursday. Now we're at the stage where basically all we have left is the fact that she recognises me and other family members, and also that she's still aware that she loves me. This morning, do you remember Adrina came?
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
But even the fact that she recognises me disappears. Several times a day now she will look at me and say, "Where is Jim?" She will say, "I want to go home." And I'll say, "Well, we are in our house." So bit by bit everything is stripped away until you have very little of your wife left.
Looking after a spouse with dementia is difficult. Providing support to a carer is greatly helped by an Admiral nurse, if there's one in the area. Everyone involved in care and support must remember that the carer may well need time away from the person with dementia to maintain their own ability to cope.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jan was the love of my life. She's a new Jan now, but she's still the love of my life, and my aim is to make every day Christmas Day for Jan, to make her life as golden as possible in the short time that we have left.